Daniel, the persecution of George Pell, when will this stop? And with the media whipping it up too, you know, the vandalism, etc., it's really quite shocking.
The short answer, Andrew, is never. The persecution of George Pell tragically will never end. And I've been very disappointed by all the people in the media, many others at the ABC, the Premier of Victoria, who apparently are happy to continue on as if nothing has changed, as if George Pell was found guilty rather than innocent. I think this whole process has been a shocking indictment of so many of our cherished institutions, an indictment of the Victorian police, an indictment of the Victorian legal system, an indictment of the Victorian Premier, Daniel Andrews, an indictment, of course, of so many in the media, in particular the ABC, who I think has been disgraceful and appalling throughout this entire episode. And they are continuing to marginalise themselves, Andrew. We did a poll at the IPA not long ago that found that only 1/3 of Australians think the ABC represents their views. And if the ABC continues on such biased, unfair and unrepresentative reporting, they're going to continue to talk to a smaller and smaller subsection of the Australian population.
Now, Daniel, you make some good points, but Rita, what really has so disappointed me today is that we have just had the High Court confirm that George Pell spent 405 days in prison for a crime he didn't commit, that he has had his reputation ruined, he is being hounded through the streets, vandals follow him and desecrate his cathedral, he's lost his money, he's lost his job, everything's gone through a horrible, horrible miscarriage of justice. And I haven't heard one sign of reflection, not from the police, not from the Office of Public Prosecutions, not from the ABC, not from the state government, nothing. Where's the accountability here?
They're just not accepting the unanimous decision of the High Court. They're treating that as the miscarriage of justice. And I've seen people even question the concept of presumption of innocence, that if you are having your case dismissed by 7-0 judgment, that you still can't be considered innocent. And I'm seeing that put forward by supposedly serious people, senior people within the media, academia and other positions of influence. And it really is quite dire that they have taken an ideological position here and they will not look at perhaps we were wrong, perhaps the evidence in this case did not justify a conviction, did not justify a court case, and someone has been harshly done by, and their alleged offences conflated with the wider crimes of the Catholic Church. And again, any reasonable person would say that is not a good thing. You should be on trial for what you're accused of, not for offences that aren't related to that particular charge. And it has been disheartening to see people that I used to respect and see as serious people really show that, one, they've got no understanding of the law, some of them just juvenile positions that are being put forward, and just no introspection. There's no...
No, that's what really shocks me. No, you're right. Now, look, Daniel, the most questions I have, the most concern I have has been about the role of the Victoria Police. They opened this investigation into Pell without a single complaint. They trawled for and advertised for people to come forward, you know, have you been a victim kind of stuff, not kind of stuff, have you been a victim? Immediately the presumption that they are a victim, that Pell must be guilty. They prosecuted these cases despite warnings that there wasn't much to it. Highly improbable stuff. This one got overturned. I mentioned earlier to Tanvir Ahmed other cases that they had charged Pell with that were clearly rickety, clearly holes through it like Swiss cheese, and yet no sign of accountability. The miscarriage of justice, they haven't said sorry. Graham Ashton, the Chief Commissioner, is refusing to come on this show, won't come on the show, won't go anywhere, won't be accountable for what the Victoria Police did to an innocent man, robbed him of his freedom for 405 days, nothing. Bird's Twitter.
Well, Andrew, I think every senior officer involved in that task force needs to resign. It's as simple as that. This has been, as you say, an egregious miscarriage of justice. And it goes beyond just Cardinal Pell. it gets to the very heart of a significant issue in this country, which is declining trust in our major institutions, whether it's the police or parliament or media or big corporations. This is a serious issue for the essence of our liberal democracy, which is that people have faith in the justice system, that they'll be treated fairly. I mean, sure, Cardinal Pell was attacked perhaps for who he is and what he represents, but there's no reason why this couldn't happen to any other Victorian that is not consistent with the politically correct views of the time. And I think all Victorians and Australians should be very concerned and encouraged to take a deeper look at what's happening here in Victoria, to how deep and how far and how wide this potential abuse of power is going.
And I think, now, Andrew, that the cultural problems with Victoria Police run deeper than this case. Of course, we know about the Lawyer X scandal, and if you look at the High Court judgment in that case, it was absolutely damning of Victoria Police's conduct and their behaviour throughout many years of what they did with Lawyer X, which has really undermined public trust in our public institutions. I think there is a deep cultural problem within Victoria Police. There's been accusations that they've been politicised, again, which is absolutely unacceptable. So I really hope there is a thorough inquiry into precisely what happened, who made what decision, to ensure this doesn't happen again.
Now, I'm just trying to look on my phone to refresh my memory. But from memory, I can't remember how many there were in total. I think it was more than 20 charges that Victoria Police have laid against Pell on the journey. Not a single one of them has resulted, now that one's been overturned, not a single one of them has resulted in a guilty conviction that has stood. Not a single one. They've included some of the cases I mentioned at the front that should never have gone to trial in the first place. How does that happen? Graham Ashton, who has been in charge of this process, is the boss, I think should resign. I think should resign. But let's see, I bet you nothing, zip, nothing.